Hey legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle and Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared, and joining me are Liam and Dan. What were they labelled last week? The Milton Boys. So yeah, we've got a Proxy War episode tonight to discuss. So how you going, Liam?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, busy, but in a good way. So yeah, all good here.
And how you going, Dan?
Yeah, going well, mate. Happy to be back here again.
Just like sorry to cut you off. I was just like,
Nah,
how
you
do I
got it.
throw to him? Do I throw to you as the poo bandit or what? Because everyone doesn't know what we're talking about off stage. And they're like, nah, how you go, Dan?
For the record, I am not the poo bandit, but I was adjacent to the poo bandit at some point, and I'm not going to provide any further context on that matter.
All we'll say is the poo bandit is not someone whose company you paid to be in. Let's just make that clear, okay?
We can say this in the first 5 minutes of stuff we're talking about because it's still safe.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm doing well. Much like Liam, I'm busy, but ticking along all right.
Happy days. So, yeah, thanks, boys, for joining us. Everyone in the comments, thanks for getting involved on the pod. Make it as interactive as possible. Get comments in there. Get any questions in. International breaks upon us, so let's have a good vent session. There's a few little main things to talk about. I think we've got 4 major talking points tonight's episode. So, yeah, let us know what you're thinking on all of this. But heavy vibes are saying, Mr. Hanky, smell the glove you spot on there. G'day, troopers, not another penny. Well, we've got a bit of stuff to talk about on there later on, but I think we'll start off with the game that was the most ridiculous kickoff time ever. Was it Sunday, 4 p.m. in Scotland?
Yep. So 1 a.m. here.
3 a.m. for us. Absolute worst time.
And it wasn't even on TV, so what was the point?
Yeah. The joys of following Celtic on the other side of the world. It's games like this one that just be like, those people who live within a stone's throw of Parkhead, you guys are just lucky. But this is just ridiculous. Anyway.
I've got cousins that live pretty much within a stone's throw of Parkhead, and they've got no interest in the football at all. And I'm like,
I've got a friend who used to live within a brick's throw of Ibrox, and one night we put that theory to the test.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes, allegedly.
You don't admit to crimes on air, mate. Alleged potential crimes.
Anyway, but yeah, so I think we'll just get into the game to start off with. So pretty simple. We played Killie, won 4-0. Starting lineup was a bit of a doozy. So yeah, we had Schmeichel in goals. Simpson Pusey making his debut. He does exist, everyone. There you go. Trusty Scales Sriracha. So when I was looking at that, I'm like, all right, looks like Simpson Pusey's playing right back. Then McGregor, Hurtado, and McCowan in the middle. And then up front, what is it? Trying to remember how it was again. Kendrick Larson up front and Johnny Kenny with Mader and Tenecti on the wings. So, yeah, bit of an interesting one there, like that lineup. Quite a few guys coming in from the blue. Like I know we've got a lot of injury problems. We'll talk about that a bit later on, right? So I'll put the injury stuff to the side. But yeah, seeing McCowan get a start was a bit of a strange one. Wasn't expecting that when I saw that pre-lineup. Seeing Simpson Pusey in there, I'm like, okay, again, he does. As I said, he does exist, but now we'll see what he's all about. And yeah, then there was a couple of other ones in there as well, like Scales, Trusty, Sriracha. Yeah, that's all fine. But yeah, the strange one for me was McCowan in and Nigren on the bench. What was your thoughts, Liam?
If these injuries get much worse, we might actually have to play in Amura. I mean, that is how bad things are getting, you know. No, it was my only disappointment was that I thought it was setting up to be a 3-5-2 because I thought they were maybe going to go with Sriracha at left wing back and possibly Hatate at right wing back, but no, it was a back four with Simpson Pusey on the right back role. But yeah, I mean it's good that we are, you know, a new manager or a temporary manager in our case is willing to give people a try, and Simpson Pusey got a try. I think had you know, I'm not wanting to have a go at Brendan Rodgers unnecessarily, but if he was still the manager, I don't think Osman, Simpson, Pusey, those types of players would have got anywhere near the the starting lineup. So good for them.
Yep. So it's a bit of an interesting one there, and then you're looking at the bench, and I'm like, all right, so Balak Wish is on the bench, Yamada's in the squad. Is Bernardo hurt, or is he that far dropped out, like just throwing his toys out of the pram that badly that he just doesn't even make a squad even under Martin as well as under Brendan? Like that's the strange one for me. But what was your thoughts on everything, Dan?
Yeah, you make a good point on Paolo. I'd like to know what the story is there, because we've been pretty open about injuries amongst the other guys, but there's not been a lot said about him. Much the same. I was happy to see JSP get a run. I think Martin sort of said, if he can play centre half, I thought I'd just sort of throw him out there and see if he could play over there. It's the carefree attitude, the doddering old sort of granddad at press conferences is very endearing. Did inject, I thought, some fresh energy. He had a bit of a rough start. We'll get into the game, obviously, but I thought he was overall pretty strong. I did like looking at the adjustments just moving forward a little bit in the midfield. I thought we saw Hatate a little bit more advanced, and I thought that paid off. He created 7 chances across the game, which is just, I've slagged him really, really heavily here, but over many weeks, but credit where it's due. He's pressing and he made some good, quick decisions. And as you spoke about, the forward line, you've got Johnny Kenny or Kenrick Larson. Another solid performance. Dyson continues to be a lot more involved and a lot more interested post Brendan, sort of just visually. And also liked Arnie. He pushed a little higher as well, I thought, particularly later in the game, and then we did see an assist and a penalty out of that. So that sort of high press, early intensity, tactical. We used the wide play with the overlaps in that sort of, I guess it was a 4-3-3 really, but it was interesting to see how it sort of manifested, materialised.
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one, like you're saying there. Like I thought when JSP was listed, I'm like, all right, cool, back three. We're going with it's going to be Maida and Kenny together up front with Tenectian behind him. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, but still, though, I'm going to say I contemplated long and hard about putting a dad joke sort of comment and wanting to use these Maida puns as much as possible, because when he'll leave soon, I don't want to leave some sitting there. Maida in the first half could have easily had a hat trick, easily, right? Amount of times he got into position and put one high or fresh air swing, or the ball just went side one. He was there. It's the sort of stuff where we weren't seeing that from him the first bit of the season under Brendan. So it was good to see him actually getting up and about. I've seen some comments online on the Celtic YouTube video of the game SPFL one stuff saying, oh, you can tell Maida doesn't want to be there. He didn't even celebrate when he scored. Did you watch last season? He scored and he barely celebrated anyway when he was like the leading goal scorer in the league. So that's kind of him. But at the same time, when you shank 3 or 4 before you actually score, he's probably thinking, oh, about time one went in. So he doesn't want to celebrate too hard and look like an absolute dickhead because, he's been so wasteful in some of these other chances. So I can understand why. I think people are just getting on him for no reason at the end of the day. Liam looks like he wants to just spew some vile about that comment, so I'm going to throw to you. I could see.
No, I was just going to say that it's. I think the overwhelming feeling Dyson would have had when that goal went in was relief, because it's like, okay, got a goal, takes the pressure off those chances I missed earlier, and yet I don't like this whole narrative about, oh, he's not celebrating, so he's no into it. Players can be as miserable as they want as long as they're scoring goals. I don't care. I really do not care. Let them drop a turd in the middle of this park for all I care, as long as they score,
I'll just jump in on that though, Liam, because you're saying they can be as miserable and not celebrate with their scoring goals for all you care. But at the same time, you can have guys who barely score, and then when they do, they're like running around crazy, badge kissing, whatever. And then as soon as they get an opportunity, see you later. You see it all the time.
Yusuf Chamiti scored his first goal in 2.5 years for Rangers the other way, and he was doing these ones at the crowd.
Oh, for God's sake.
Hang on, mate. And look, I'm obviously no Hunt sympathiser, but I'm like, hang on, mate. You've scored one goal in 2.5 years and you're giving it the big who's talking now. Holy.
And the thing is, doing it to their supporters, I know, because you know how volatile they are anyway.
Oh, they took it well. They took it well.
Oh, dear. Anyway, back on topic.
I think Stephen McGonagall's made a good point here. So Mater is clever. He knows VAR will intervene. That makes sense. He doesn't celebrate because he's like, I'm just waiting on VAR now. That's actually a good point, Stephen. Good job. Like, I had not have thought of that one, so I'm going to put that in the back pocket and claim it in about a month's time that it's my own thought finally. I'll steal it from you.
I mean, I wrote that last week on the AGM blog. I said, that we missed out on a goal against Rangers literally because Dyson has a faster frame rate than VAR.
Yeah. Yep. VAR was buffering and Dyson's gone through. There you go. Yeah, so anyway, boys, which one of you wants to just give us the rundown of the first half?
Hang on, I can go to my tactical notes.
Someone's volunteer, would you?
I can go to my tactical notes here.
We did well. We got a goal up. We looked well in command. I was only nervous because it was only one goal. That was pretty much it, really. It was a slightly flat first half, but we were always in control. Apart from that one chance where they hit the bar, and there was another one where Schmeichel made a good save. But no, it was one-way traffic as soon as the goal went in, because Kilmarnock's strategy is always shut Celtic down and then try and counter attack. So as soon as we get one goal, that goes out the window.
I will give credit to them, Liam, with that one where they hit the bar. Like, I do love a good set play, and the fact that you can't be offside in your own half, they just sprinted and just outraced us and then got the shot away. Like, I look at that, and if they had scored from that, I would have been like, yeah, fair play. Well done. So credit where it's due. But anyway.
Liam's bang on when it comes to that sort of first, 10 minutes before Kenny scored. Things were still going to plan for Kilmarnock. For us, I already spoke about Hatate in the advanced role. I thought we were much more aggressive in our pressing and our pressing triggers. We pressed high, we pressed hard. The front three, Maeda, Kenny, Tanecki, they were almost hunting in a pack across that front three. They forced Kilmarnock into a lot of rush clearances, particularly in that first 10, 15 minutes. Really good central pressing from Hatate. And again, I'm going to say it because I've slagged him when he's been crap. So he led to a lot of turnovers, and not the usual turnovers that he makes when he passes it straight to someone from the other team. But it created those early chances. You talked about Maeda blasting over. Kenny hit the post. The goal comes in. You've got the Robbie D slip, which helps on the 10th minute. But Hatate's there to capitalise. Square for a Kenny tap in. Celtic, for us, I thought at that point we capitalised on Kilmarnock's poor ball retention under pressure. They really struggled. Their back three, back four, whatever it was. I think it was a back four. Crap with the ball. Their goalkeeper is an absolute nightmare. There's a reason they're scrambling left and right to get anybody in. The goalkeeper's awful.
That keeper was an absolute bomb scare.
Yeah. I think they have finally loaned Toby Oluwemi from us, but obviously couldn't play against us.
Who is this kid? Eddie Beach. There you go.
Yeah, I feel bad because he's got the real slagger, but he's not good. He's not good.
I'd rather the goalkeeper from down here. You got the bucket to the head than that bloke. Like, yeah. There you go. Southampton and Chelsea Youth Academy player.
Yeah, and I don't think he was. I don't think he was much chance of cracking it down there, and I don't think he's much chance of cracking it at Kilmarnock for much longer.
Let's look at it this way: senior career in 3 seasons at Chelsea, went on loan, then played 20 games in one season, 5 last season, and then the middle season. And the last season he went on loan and didn't play at all, and then he went to Killie and he's played 3 appearances this year.
Oh dear.
And copped to hiding left and right. From what I understood, Killie, and not to get too much into Killie, but they were like basically calling everyone and saying, "Can you loan us a keeper now?" through the week, to the point where they even hit up Hearts and were like, "You've got Xander Clark and Craig Gordon. Can we have one of them? Whoever you don't want, like 42-year-old Craig Gordon, will take him." So yeah, look, I don't want to. I just feel like I'm slagging a 12-year-old at this point because he's quite young as well. So missed opportunities in the first half. The Cowan went close. I've seen that and it just stuck in my head, so I can blame Steve McGonigal for that one.
We're all stealing your material, Stephen.
I think that's a bit harsh because I actually was a goalkeeper when I was 12 and I could have done better than that.
Yeah, look, me too. I was a keeper. I was only a keeper because I liked the idea of wearing a bright colour while everyone else wore red and black was my junior club. But I'd have backed myself to probably acquit myself a little better than poor young Eddie. But I hope he's not watching. I mean, he's not for sure, but no. I hope he's not. He
was going to, but he dropped the iPad at the last minute.
All I'm going to say is if he does tune in on this, mate, why? Why are you doing this to yourself?
Pour yourself a glass of wine. Make sure it's a non-slip mug.
Don't even do that. Just go because it's an Australian-based Celtic pod. Yeah, easy. Just get some box wine, get a goon, and just drink that straight from the cask. That way, you don't even need to drop anything. Done.
You trust him carrying a goon cask all the way from the bottle out of the car?
It's got a handle.
No, see, I heard that he did that and then he dropped it, but luckily it went right through his legs, so he was fine.
Oh, this just feels like really mean bullying now. But
you've lost it. Back on point.
Right.
Someone save us.
There you go. Stephen saying, Liam, you could have done better now. There you go.
Oh, well, it's only been 18 months since I last played in goals, so maybe.
Never too
anyway, let's get back to the game. So where were you, Dan or Liam?
Right, so first half's covered. 1-0 up, not an outstanding performance, but good enough to get the job done. Second half, we really kicked up a gear and pushed on, and I think it was, we made quite a few substitutions after the second goal because I think the game was won at that point, and it's just a case of giving players game time, and protecting players that are maybe a bit tired or whatever from midweek. And yeah, I think it was a really, really good performance. And if this is Martin O'Neill's last game as the manager, then it's a great way to wind things off. I think he did really well. So yeah.
I'm going to say, you mentioned the subs and made some subs earlier, right? Nigrin comes on, Engels comes on, Ralston comes on, Tierney comes on. Those subs make sense. The Yang Gang comes on, wins the last penalty, wins the penalty for us to get their last goal. How would you feel if you were Balakwisha? Seriously. You come in for big money and you can't even get in a game when you're already up 3-0. You got all that sort of stuff, and Yang gets a run before you.
I just say, son, it could be worse. At least you're not the commander goalkeeper.
Say, could be worse. At least you're not.
We're bullying one of our own players now, Michel Ange Balakwisha. Yang is better than him. Yang is a better winger.
I thought Yang actually played quite well when he came on, to be honest.
Yang was not bad, and I have seen more from Yang than I have seen from bad old what is it, Barry for Wish. Barry for Wish. Is that another one? No, smell the glove this time. He offers nothing in anything I've seen. Like, prove me wrong down the line. Come and do something, but he offers nothing.
He almost looks scared to get on the ball and actually do something. I'm going to say something here. Balakwisha, I don't know what's going on here, but his agent is definitely earning his percentage of his contract. I'll tell you that, getting in this move. I just don't see it.
They reckon we scouted him for 18 months and then had to really sell the project, which I don't know how you sell the project given the fucking project at the moment, but we had to really put the boat out to get this guy for £5 million, and I can't see it. He looks more. When I went back to look at it, was it Anderlecht? It was in Belgium. Antwerp. Yeah, he looked more a central player to me. He's never looked a winger. I don't know what the story is there, but Brendan was pretty adamant he was a left winger when we needed a right winger. I don't get it.
I got the funny thing. First of all, I'm going to say is if we skate him for 18 months, all three of us wear glasses. Someone who ever scattered him, you can borrow these from me, mate. I've got spares. Like, you clearly need them, whoever you were. But the side thing is, apparently the club had £10 million budget to bring in 3 wingers. That was the plan. And they wanted Tenecti. They wanted Balikwisha. The other guy was, what's his name? Ola Solbakken, who was up at Bodo Glimt and had moved on. That was the other guy that we're in for. And because we had to just double down and throw extra money in to get Balikwisha, we didn't have the budget there to bring Solbakken in. And that's why we didn't have the right winger. That's what the issue is. So for me, with that bit of knowledge, Tenecti, I got no problem paying the money we did for him, right? There's a player there, I'm happy with that. But it's this money that we threw just to get Balikwisha in because we were desperate for someone in before we played the Huns. So we just threw some money and got him in, and he's done absolutely bugger all. And we missed out on Solbakken, who would be perfect for us.
The thing with Balikwisha, though, is that I actually watched quite a bit of Belgian football last season because it was like the TV subscription that I've got for football here is basically EPL, the Belgian League, and the Italian League are the three that you get, and the J League as well, obviously. But so I watched a few games because I remember reading back in January about him possibly coming to Celtic, and the guy looked like a really good player. Like you say, playing more centrally, more like a number 10. But he looked like a really good player. I don't know what's happened. He's not it.
It's the physicality of the league. Let's be honest, Jack Hendry looks a good player in that league.
Aye, that's true. Yeah.
I'll just throw that one out there. Stephen Welsh looked good when he played at Mechelen.
Mm.
Which, when you think about it, makes it weirder that we had or maybe we still do, have the loan partnership with Admira Vakken.
Yeah. They're in
Austria.
That's right. I don't know where I'm going today. Austria, Belgium, Central, Europe. It's all one.
Are you on the gummies or what?
No comment.
Usually people confuse Austrians and Germans for some reason. I don't know why, but that's.
I'm trying to break stereotypes here. I don't know why. I was like, you know what? This is what happens when I don't prepare something, because I sat there and I was like, hang on a minute. Belgium, what's right? What's the go there? Let's move on before I incriminate myself any further.
So, the second half goals, we'll just quickly chat through them. The pick of the bunch, I think, was Tierney's one. He's just got there, he's shaped up. People have been saying for the last couple of weeks, why does he always put that early cross in? And then you have a look at him, he's shaping up. Look, he's going to put the early cross in, and then he just adjusted and put the shot in. And it threw the goalkeeper off from the defence off because they were expecting a cross. Opened up an angle for him. So hopefully all those people bagging him out for putting that early cross in, there's the reason. Now he'll have the teams in two minds. Is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass? Which will open up more chances for, our strikers and all that sort of stuff, and our wingers on the other side in the future. That was good. Arne Engels, just seeing the smile on his face after he scored that penalty. It looked like you said it earlier, Liam, about Maida when he scored. It looked like relief. Engels looked like, it's good to be back about it. Like a weight was just taken off his shoulders as well in that moment. So, I was happy to see him again getting out there and doing the job. And Dazen's goal, typical Dazen. Make him have a shot that is more difficult than just a tap in or squaring it up. And how he just slots that in, didn't have to think, just did it. Freak.
Dyson's fine as long as he doesn't have time to think. That's basically him.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was a stock standard Dazen goal from last season. That's what we were seeing from him all the time. So starting to look good there. So player focus. I just want to bring up some stuff about Simpson Pusey. First, I'll just have a quick scroll through the comments here. There you go. We're talking about the Belgium League. Liam Voldemort was a good manager in that league.
Aye, true.
Steve McGonigal saying Bally was the same price as Buckus. That says it all. Both $5 million. Both names start with a BA. There you go.
I mean, in fairness, Voldemort was a good manager in Scotland as well, for us.
I look back on his time fondly. Not as fondly as the Russell Martin era, but...
Pedro Caixinha is always going to be peak banter for me. That was giving lectures in a hedge after you've just literally lost to progress.
It's the two. It's the hedge, and then it's Voldemort looking through the chain link fence.
Ah, yes, yeah.
They're the two enduring
iconic.
images of the bandy years for me at the moment. They are both just fantastic.
And then any meme that mentions a caravan. Now the other one was when they gradually made Michael Beale's mole just get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point that his mole had a mole, and then his mole had a mole that had a mole that then had his face in it.
That, or there was pictures of Voldemort, and all of a sudden there was a mole, and it was Michael Beale's face when you really zoomed in. People do great things. I will say, Tierney's strike. I really hope that's a big moment for him. We've been quite critical. I know I have, and plenty of other people have as well. But I thought overall he came on, and Srirachi was fine. And I've been a big fan of Marcelo Srirachi the whole time. But when Kieran came on, he pushed high, and he helped create a lot of left side overloads, which created a lot of opportunities. And it allowed Maeda to drift inside, which really, I thought, increased our attacking intent. So I was really happy to see Tierney come on and basically create the auxiliary attack from the fullback position.
Yep, 100%. It's good to see Tierney getting back amongst it now. Looks like he's getting back in the swing of things. So I was talking about certain players. So player focus. I wanted to talk on Simpson Pusey. So Parkhead Faithful put this tweet up. What do you make of Jemai Simpson Pusey's debut? The only didn't look out of place at all. 91 touches, 70 passes at 97% accuracy, plus 8 duels won, 4 clearances and an interception. Calm, composed, and didn't hide from the ball. Now, you said it early on there was something there, Liam.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think that was his only downer for the whole game. The rest, I thought he looked like a quality player.
Yeah. And remember as well, this is a young guy making his debut and also being played out of position. So, I think he did fine.
Yeah, I thought he injected a bit of energy. I wouldn't say really impressed, but I had a few moments where I went, okay, he's not overawed. Those first couple of minutes, it could have gone after the first couple of minutes, it could have gone really wrong, but he pulled himself back fine. He was able to adapt into that wide overload and moving quite flexibly tactically. So yeah, there's a player there. He wasn't the PL2 Player of the Year last year for nothing.
That's the thing that I look at. Like, he's come up here with a great runs on the board at junior level. He's played first team football for Man City. He's played in the Champions League. So he's got all the pedigree. But then he just didn't get cited because of, I don't know, all I can say is probably because of Brendan. Brendan doing Brendan things. That's probably all I can think of, right? He comes in. We've got a few injuries. So we've got to move players around, some square pegs in round holes, that sort of stuff, right? But the fact is that he's come in, he looked at his shaky early on, he got into the rhythm of things, got into the game, and then you go, okay, now I can see what all these hype's about, what all these reputations for. We've got a good starting point. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Franz Beckenbauer or anything like that, but not even, or even Paolo Maldini for that instance, but, get him out there and just let's see what we've got. If we're paying him for the season, then we may as well play him.
Yeah, and whatever issue behind the scenes, if indeed there was one in terms of his attitude, that's obviously been addressed somehow, or he wouldn't have been playing. So, yeah, clean slate. If every other player in the team gets a clean slate, despite being pushed for most of the season, so does Simpson Pusey.
Yep, 100%. And then there's the other guy, the bloke who... So Scales has been our best defender all season, without question, right? He's been the stability. He's been there week in, week out, particularly at centre back, right? But seeing Austin Trusty come in, and this is everything Celtic was saying, Austin Trusty since he became right-footed. Clean sheet versus Falkirk, knocks Rangers out of the League Cup, man of the match versus Rangers, SPFL team of the week, clean sheet versus Killie, man of the match against Killie. The thing I'm liking with him is... Now he doesn't have Carter Vickers next to him. He's actually stepping up on the leadership front. Seeing him pointing his arms out and telling Simpson Pusey, You go here, Scales, you cover this, and he's covering runners, and he's marshalling it from the back. I really noticed that in the game, particularly like last night's game.
They missed
By
the most important stat of all off of that list, though. Caused a Chernobyl level meltdown amongst the Huns.
Yeah. One head kicked clean into the stratosphere.
Grievous bodily harm.
I was trawling. I think it was follow last week after that, right? And I swear to God, it went from like it should have been a red card to an assault to GBH to he could have killed him in the space of like 4 comments. And I'm like, for God's sake, get a grip,
These are the guys who don't have a problem with fans throwing broken bucky bottles onto the pitch, but you breathe in the goalkeeper's direction, and suddenly it's like, oh, arrest him.
I come back to my core point from last week in that it should always be legal to kick a Hun. So,
yeah,
and see what the problem is, on or off the field. Do what you need to do. That's not me inciting violence.
No.
The thing I liked.
Well, be kind, hug a Hun.
Exactly, with your boot.
I've got something for you on that, Liam, where you're talking about Huns, right?
Yeah.
I finally, for the first time in my life, I'm going to say this on the pod while I remember it. I finally get what you mean. Is there's a difference between having friends who are a Rangers fan and who is a Hun. I finally, for the first time ever, met that person who is a Rangers fan and not a Hun. I finally know one of them, and it's still odd.
They're never going to be 100% normal, but
they've got the same gene pool, mate. That's the problem.
There was a close-up of the Rangers crowd at one point during the game last week, and I said something. You say something and you think, "Oh God, I've taken that too far." I said to my dad, "I said, God, look at the state of that mob. There's more rogue DNA than a Chinese genetics lab." So yeah.
Any complaints, send them to downunderceltic@gmail.com, and I will send them Liam's way.
Who was the guy that slagged you off the other week? Because I can't remember. He was going hard on Twitter at you.
Look, in fairness, I did take it a bit too far a couple of weeks ago, right? I'm winding my neck in a bit here. That's my first offensive comment of the day, right? So,
I'm yet to see you ever go too far, Liam, from my perspective. But
yeah, so back to we'll bring it back on for a second here. Just going through some comments here. So Franny's saying JSP looked comfortable on his debut. Franny's also saying, did Sriracha get injured? And yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
Hamstring. Done his hamstring.
Heavy vibes. A lot of good centre backs play fullback at the start of their careers.
True. Yeah. Well, Tierney has played centre back as well. You've seen that transition in real time there.
Well, let's look at it this way. Towards the end of his career, where was Michael Lustig playing the majority of the games?
Celtic, mate.
Yeah, I know that. What I get at is he would stay back and he'd just slide into like a back three as a centre back to allow Tierney to bomb up and down, right? So that's what I was getting at. But yeah, well played, dickhead.
That's two today because someone at work today said they were celebrating their 24th wedding anniversary, and someone else said, "Oh, what's the next one?" As in, like, is the 25th silver anniversary or whatever? And I was, it's 25, mate. It's always come after 24. So I apologise. I'll leave the dad jokes out of it.
Some people, man. So anyway,
I phoned a pizza the other night. I said, "Do you deliver?" They went, "No, only chicken or pork." Moving on.
I'm going to throw one out while you're at it. Did you hear the one about the fella that fell out of the nightclub on the 18th story?
No.
And they confirmed he wasn't a bouncer.
Oh, God.
What the hell was that?
Or the dyslexic devil worshipper who sold his soul to Santa. Right. Anyway.
This is all on you, Jared. Wind it back in, mate. What's going on?
I'm just watching this train wreck go and just being like, where's my phone? I'll start videoing it.
I will say, all right, I'll tell you what. I will say 12 high turnovers, 7 in the first half. The pressing was a big success.
Yes. Yeah.
Big
And the
success.
thing is,
Very nice.
but that's
We're
where.
even getting you off here. Let's go.
But that's where Rio Hatate can have a better game as well, because his whole thing is risk reward. And if you've got a style of play where if we lose the ball, we'll just win it back again quickly, then it allows him more latitude to make the odd stray pass here and there, because he made some really good passes as well.
Yeah.
So.
Good fun.
We saw that across the whole midfield, to be honest. There was a good rotation through the midfield. They overloaded quite well. And there was not a lot of backwards passing in there as well, which the triangle, when you look at the point, it was Engels and McGregor with Hatate a little bit more advanced. I thought that was quite telling that we were a lot more direct and there was a lot more urgency in that area of the park.
Yeah, I would agree.
Brilliant. There you go. I think we'll leave the game stuff there because I completely just lost my brain now. It's gone. You guys have done this to me.
Sorry, I'm just gonna have a quick sip of Hunt here. So just give me a second. Yeah. Right, moving on.
So, next thing I want to know is why are Celtic having so many soft tissue injuries at the moment? So, particularly like this season at the moment, because if you go through it, let's just think back on what we've had so far this season. Alistair Johnson gets hurt, comes back, gets hurt again, in for surgery tomorrow. Callum Osman comes in, does well, surgery again. You've got Ihanacho, but he almost said got like him and Connect, his name's confused, is out. Then you've got Srirachi. So many same injuries. And I'm looking at it going, why are we having so many hamstring injuries? Even when Ange came in and changed the workload where it was high pressure, high press, go, 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 we didn't have so many of these injuries. So I'm looking at it going, this is going to have to be one of three things is the reason for this. And that's what I want to pick your brain on, see what you boys think. Because one, we're just been plain unlucky. Two, it's lack of fitness in the squad. And because we didn't strengthen in the summer, we don't have the players there to be able to rotate the players to cover it. So we keep, one person goes down, someone else has to play more minutes than they should, then they get hurt, then so on and so forth. And the last one, it's pretty simple. What did we do in the preseason? Did we do fitness work? Because we've looked unfit all season. That's the three ways I'm looking at it. Every Vibes is saying here, players' core's not strong enough. What do you guys think? Dan?
Yeah, look, it's hard to narrow it down to one thing, but without, being there and seeing what's going on. But it raises serious questions about the preparation. I mean, we've spoken, and it probably is a mix, because we've spoken about the squad, the lack of depth, the lack of starting players, let alone depth players. So there is definitely a workload going on to players that probably weren't expecting it. They're younger players, your Osmonds and Johnny Kenny's fine, but you've got younger guys that are playing much bigger minutes than they would have expected, which has probably got to play some part. Not that it should be an excuse for not being fit and ready to go, but ultimately, I think it's a long way of saying I'm not really sure, but it sucks.
I was just thinking, we've got a comment here from Smell the Glove, and he's saying injuries due to one manager overplaying the same players, then Martin O'Neill has to use players in from the cold, so that's part of it as well.
Nailed it. It's a combination of those two factors.
The other thing I look at is Rogers left, who got sacked with him? The strength and conditioning coach is gone, so that's a factor too. Or when Rogers left, that guy left, so that's part of it as well. So do we have that? I don't know.
The other thing is, I actually did some research on this last week because, I was writing a blog about it, but also just because I'm generally a bit sad that way. And it said that if you overexert, is it the I can't remember what it's called. The muscles at the front of your thigh.
Hip flexor. The adductors.
Anyway, whatever it's called, if you overtrain that muscle, it naturally tightens your hamstrings and makes you more prone to injury. And heavy running will naturally tighten those muscles. So, is it that Rodgers had been running the team too hard in training, and as a result, everybody's hamstrings have tightened up, and when the minute they try and do something else, muscles are going. It could be as simple as that.
Makes a lot more sense. Let's have a look what we got here. How is McGregor never injured? Then he plays every game and he's older. It's because he probably doesn't train between games. Let's be honest. He's probably just in recovery mode the whole time. And then Bonnie saying too much warming up before matches.
I tried that one a couple of times back in the day too. Too much warming up, boss. I'll just come out when you need me. Didn't work.
Yeah, there we go. Bonnie's saying new yoga coach required for the hoops. I think we've got to get it sorted out, strength and conditioning, because it's a bit of an issue.
That's actually a pretty good shout. Something that involves a lot of stretching and increasing suppleness would help. Yoga or Pilates or something like that. Remember, I think it was Matt O'Reilly. He said Pilates worked wonders for him when he was having injury issues. So maybe something like that is what's needed.
What about Tai Chi? Those 800-year-old Chinese ladies in the park who are moving better than half our back three. There might be something in it.
I was just having a look at something as well. So I was looking through our squad, and we have a first team squad of 30 players, right? Of that, Inamura barely played. I was counting through, and there's a bunch of others that only just started to come in now. So before Brendan had left, there was 8 of those players who weren't even getting looked at. So that brings down to 22 players, which ties into that, right? At the same time, then of that 22, Jota's one of them who's injured as well to add to it. And then you had AJ's been out injured the majority of the season, so that brings down to 20 players. Ross Doohan's one of those players, so that brings you down to 19. So you're already a 30-year squad is a non-factor. So that explains a lot, like what that comment was saying early on about Brendan playing the same team and then O'Neill having to bring people in from the cold. So that's part of it. The other thing, remember Brendan's first season, we had a squad of 41 players, and then we let a heap of players go before last year. And we got the squad down to about 28 was the number we had. So we're actually carrying 2 more players this season than we carried last season. The difference is, of those 28 last season, only 4 weren't regular players or regularly in match day squads. This season, yeah, as I said, 8 players plus a couple injured and a backup keeper.
The quality of that is just not there.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue here. So we got here DN6KH saying loans inbound in January. The board won't sign players permanently to cover injuries. I don't expect them to. The other thing is that I think they'll bring permanent players in depending upon who comes in as the new manager.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If it's still Martin O'Neill at that point, then yeah, loans will be the way to go.
So you don't want to sign players for someone who's not going to be there. The manager and players aren't going to want to sign about who the new gaffer is. So Stephen McGonigal was saying, Jota missing, Trusty was out injured, Maida was out for 3 games. And some other ones saying we were pretty lucky with injuries last season. And that's what I'm taking from that little quick thing I looked at before, is that we have a bigger squad now and we're copping it worse this season. So it's a bit of an odd situation. I think we're going to have to strengthen something chronic, get our coaching sorted, get a set playing system, and get on with it. We should want to be the fittest team not just in Scotland, but we're going to compete in Europe. We may not be the most talented, but we need to be the fittest team on the pitch. That's something we need to be working towards.
It's the great leveler. It's the one thing that anybody can work on is their fitness.
Work rate and fitness. That doesn't have anything to do with skill. That's everything to do with your mental fortitude and putting in the work. Yeah. That's what we need if we want to be decent in Europe. But anyway.
It's all about your physical training and your dedication and your discipline. That's what I said last night as I had my 18th pint of Guinness.
I was going to say that's what you said while you were having your pot noodle before coming on here.
Well, there is that as well,
If we could hurry this up, fellas, I got a pizza coming in about 10 minutes too.
That's dedication right there.
So, on that, then we will speed it up for Dan and his pizza delivery.
That was a joke, actually.
I know it was, dickhead.
I wish I had pizza coming. I don't.
So, yeah, we're talking about Martin O'Neill, and you said early on, Liam, like what he's done coming in for these few games has been massive, especially with his legacy at the club. Previously, he didn't come in and do what he's done now. Is just unbelievable. As you said, Dan, I think it was last week or the week before, I can't remember when it was, but you said you growing up watching Martin O'Neill as a manager, and now you're there doing the same with your son. It's amazing. So, yeah, it's one of those ones where if Martin O'Neill stays until January, I can live with it. I don't necessarily want him to do the whole season. There's rumours that was his last game against Killie. That was only ever going to be like a 5-game stint. So, Liam, do you think Celtic will have a new manager in place by the end of the international window? So currently, Wilfred Nancy is available, or not. He's not out of contract, but his season's over in the MLS. Kettle Knutson's contract's up end of December. They're the two favourites. What are your thoughts on how do you think this is going to play out?
I think that we might well know who the new manager is going to be by the end of the international break. But it might be the case that Martin O'Neill stays in place for another couple of games before things are officially handed over, because I think there's a lot of the candidates, for one reason or another, are not going to be able to take up the post until December. We've still got a couple of games before then. So, what you might have the scenario where, and you've seen this before, where a manager is announced, but then the next home game he's in the stand and he's watching the game with a view to taking charge maybe a week, 10 days later. I think that could be the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, if we're going to bring in, say, Nancy, for instance, bring him in, fine. I could see that scenario happening there, Liam. But if it's going to be Knudsen, yeah, we know he won't be until January. That's fine. That gives us time to get him on a pre-contract. And then he can work on what's his staff going to be. There's rumours if Nancy comes in, he's going to have Damien Duff supporting him and Sean Maloney as his assistants, along with Gavin Strachan and the laptop, and Stevie Woods as a goalkeeper coach. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Smell the Glove is saying Knudsen still has 2 league games and is a point behind. So, yeah, he won't be leaving now. But as we're saying, we signed him on a pre-contract, finish the season, then he comes to us in January. It could work. What do you think, Dan?
Sorry, just to add on that point with Knudsen, sorry, Dan. It's if that's the case, then it's going to be another couple of weeks before we can even talk to him, because he's going to be like, no, got to get the league over the line first of all, then we can talk. So it might well be that Celtic have made the initial approach, but 2 league games to go. I'm assuming that's 2 weekends after the international break. So that's potentially another month before you can formalise any negotiations with them. So, could be a deal breaker.
I'm going to throw another name out there, Liam, and you're going to love this then. And we'll go to Dan off the back of this. Who's out of contract as well, and season ends at the end of November in China? Kevin Muscat, anyone? Anyone?
I've been saying it. I think he'd be a good manager. I don't care if he played for the Rotten Mob for 10 minutes 20 years ago. I think he would be a good manager.
I just wanted to see Dan's face when I said that.
The problem is he's played for 2 Rotten Mobs, in my estimation. But no, look, I wouldn't. He wouldn't be the worst candidate. Obviously, I want Kjetil Knudsen. Kjetil Knudsen to me ticks almost every box. The unknown is whether his success is predicated on the structure and only the structure, or whether he has the ability to transfer that and come to Celtic. He's got the pedigree. I mean, Bodo Glimt, for fuck's sake, put 6 past Roma at one point. He's had some really big European nights. His win percentage in Europe is like nearly 50%, which is insane. We've won 4 games in Europe at home in 5 years or something at this point. Like, to me, it comes down to, at this point, if they're saying we're going to have the manager or know who the manager is by the end of this international break, I think it's Nancy. I think that makes sense. As you said, he's not out of contract, but the season's over. No MLS club is going to stop him from coming and taking the role. I've been doing a little bit of looking into Nancy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watch a lot of MLS, but
Columbus Crew.
Yes, I'm not a huge Columbus Crew guy, but it's possession based. It's proactive football. He does seem ideologically driven, but he's definitely. I know we can slag the MLS, but he's not. He's far and away the most tactically astute. He uses a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2. So we talked a little bit about how that might work for us. It's very sophisticated football. I like it. I don't hate it. If that's the way we go, all right, let's see. But you've got to back him. You've got to bring him players that are going to fit that system. There are some. I don't think it'd be a massive overhaul. That said, I think we've got a squad more geared to the way Knutsen plays in the short term. If you want to finish this year, we're not going to bring in a bucket load of players, whether we've got a manager in place or not. We're not going to bring in a bucket load of high-quality players in January. The board is just not going to flip the switch like that. Ideally, that's what I want. I want Knutsen in January with Martin O'Neill getting us through. Till then, it does give me the sentimentality of the Martin O'Neill Cup final as well, which would be lovely. But if it's got to be Nancy, get him in. Let's get it started. Let's work on the project and get the ball rolling.
So for me, I'm looking at something quickly just by one of these comments, but I agree with what you're saying there, Dan, in terms of the playing squad that we have at the moment suits Knutsen's style more than it does Nancy's. Nancy's playing a 3-4-3 over at Columbus this season, 3 centre-backs. We brought Tierney in on $50K a week. Are we going to play him at centre-back? If we do that, what's that do for Alistair Johnson on the other side? Is his season over from surgery? I don't know. But what does that do on the other side? So I don't know whether his style would suit the players we have. Knutsen's style would suit the squad better, right? Now, there's just a couple of comments I wanted to bring up here about Knutsen. The Norway League finishes 30th of November. So 3 weeks till that's done. Heavy Vibes are saying Muscat, who cares as long as he wins for us?
Exactly.
McLaughlin is saying here, I've no problems with Martin taking the team right up to the New Year derby. Now, that there could be the scenario you said, I think, Liam, where it was we have the new manager signed and they're in the crowd. Martin can do that New Year derby as his last game, and there's Knutsen sitting in the crowd, ready to come out at halftime, hold his scarf up and be like, here I am, let's do this and take over. Perfect scenario.
And we're already 4-0 up by that point at half time. They're going to win 7-1. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting the tissues out at this point and I'm going through fantasy mode. But you never know. Yes, I think that would be great. But I think if the scenario I talked about was going to play out, I think it's more likely that O'Neill's last game would be the cup final.
Yeah.
Because that would still be a couple of weeks into December. It would give Knutsen time to finish up whatever he's got to do in Norway and then come over.
Yeah, fair enough.
The other tick in the box for me for Knutsen is the fact that there's been like half a dozen Norwegians just laughing in my Twitter mentions at the idea that he would come to Celtic, which I've bookmarked every single one of them, and I would really love to come back and shove it right up them. So if we could also do that.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, Franny is saying Knutsen for me, like his style of play. Yeah. So that'll be a good one. Now I'm going to bring something up. Clearly, we had the episode called Proxy Wars. Clear reason. It's because of this, right? Fans Collective, it has come to our attention that shareholders have been blocked from proxying their votes to the Celtic Trust ahead of the AGM, which the club has claimed is due to technical fault within the voting system. This issue has affected those voting with the Celtic, only affected those voting with the Celtic Trust. The timing of this is deeply troubling. The Celtic Trust has taken part in AGMs for over 20 years without issue. Yet at a moment when pressure on the board is at its highest and supporters are calling for real structural and strategic change, the voice of small shareholders is being obstructed. This issue raises serious questions about how the board views and treats supporters and small shareholders, and about the overall direction of the club. Is yet another example of poor governance and a failure to engage meaningful with the support, demonstrating clearly that change is needed at Celtic Football Club. Now, that's the statement from Celtic Fans Collective. I'm going to bring up something on the screen now so that if anyone is a shareholder and you wanted to proxy your votes across to the Celtic Trust, scan the QR code on the screen now. Small Celtic shareholders account for 18% of all voting shares. Many fans who brought into the Fergus Revolution in 1995-1999 have become disconnected with their shares due to shareholders passed away, moved house, lost paperwork. The Celtic Trust has excellent resources for reconnecting fans. Scan the QR code. 15% of shareholders did not vote at last year's AGM, almost certainly all small shareholders. It is possible to vote without attending the AGM or proxy or vote to a representative like the Celtic Trust. This year, the club computer share appear to have actively interfered with individuals proxying their votes to the Celtic Trust. This year, more than ever, we need Celtic supporters and Celtic shareholders to protest the running of our club. So with that in mind, Liam, what's your thoughts on this? Because I think it looks like it's a bit of a shit show, really. And
this is getting to a point where we're not just talking about incompetence anymore. We're talking about possible illegality. If anyone at Celtic is found to be deliberately blocking shareholders from exercising their rights as shareholders, that's a breach of the rules. And I don't know what the penalties are for that, but it is something that financial regulators would get involved at that point. Celtic need to be very, very careful what they're doing here, because if there's something dodgy going on, they need to stop it right now, and not just stop it. They need to actively help the trust and anybody else who is having issues because of problems at Celtic side of things, because that is responsible corporate governance. That is what regulators expect. So, yeah.
The scary thing is you only need to have 5% of the shares to be able to call for an EGM and all this sort of stuff, right? There's 18% of the shares out there, 15% of that. So of that 18%, only 3% voted last year's AGM. The other 15% haven't done anything with. So that's 3 times the cutoff that we need to be able to make change.
Yep. And there's also the fact that now again, this is just my opinion. I don't speak for Celtic Down Under. I don't speak for anyone else. My opinion. If the rumours are true that Linsell Train, which owns 15.3% approximately of Celtic, has some kind of standing arrangement with Dermot Desmond in his shareholding to take it over the 50% needed in order to basically get whatever he wants. The margin of error there is now 0.3%. With their combined shareholding, it's only 50.3% because Linsell Train reduced their shareholding by about 1% just over a month ago. That doesn't sound like much, but when there's like you say, 15% of shares basically floating about out there that doing nothing, it's only a 0.3% margin that could derail the guy who acts as if he owns our club when he doesn't. So we're talking about fine margins here. And if I was to speculate, and again, only my own opinion, I think someone at Celtic is aware of just how thin the margins are, which is why it's suddenly become more difficult to proxy your shares.
100%. And this is the thing, as McLaughlin's saying, Desmond ends up with 56, 57% if those shares lie dormant. So on the current amount of shares available, from the active shares, he has more than half the votes available.
Yeah.
And then David Lowe spoke about that, and that's the thing. So For me, I'm not a massive fan of the Celtic Trust. I love what they do, right? I gave them the time just then and plugged it and said, go to them, proxy your votes if you can do so. I don't like, personally, I don't like one or two of the people involved in the Celtic Trust from my dealings with them. I would rather David Lowe's new fan group got up and running on that front. That's who I would personally, if I own shares, that's where I'd be sending them, right? But each to their own. You're a shareholder. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just giving you the info. Go to the trust, proxy it to them. Look at David Lowe's new group, proxy it to them if you can't make it. And let's try and make something happen with these shares that are sitting dormant. Dan, you look completely confused by this. Your pizza's about to knock on your door, so I'll give you the say.
Look, I was just trying to couch and remember in my mind how litigious Mr. Desmond is.
I look forward to his cease and desist. Thank you very much.
I very much can, from what I understand, he doesn't mind going the litigious route. I won't name anyone specifically, but there's some absolute fucking rat bastards in that board that'll fight, scrap, cheat, and steal to stay in charge. And it is, in my personal opinion, and not the opinion of Celtic Down Under or anyone affiliated with the podcast, it is the duty of any and all Celtic fans to exercise their constitutional rights in terms of shareholding and to actively participate in how, what, and when the club is run. It is not acceptable, the current trajectory, the current state. The board have been very clear that all the problems, in their opinion, were related to the manager, the now erstwhile Brendan Rodgers, and that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the way they were running the club and continue to run the club. That is their very clear opinion. They have made that so very clear, and they are so fucking wrong.
Look at it this way.
Sorry.
Like the ostriches, they've got their heads in the sand, honestly. Like, it's either that or they've got their heads up there each other's asses. There's no middle ground here. Like, they're idiots. But over to you, Liam. You probably say something make more sense than me.
Putting your head up your own arse would require flexibility, which this board clearly don't have. But anyway, what I was going to say was the problems here. We're trying to. Oh, it's all the fault of Brendan Rodgers, right? The same thing is going on now with the Green Brigade issue, right? This whole issue of the Green Brigade supposedly, helping somebody get away from the police and
that was actually the next thing I wanted to end the pod on, Liam. So go for it. Go.
Right. But it's the same core problem, right? It's the Celtic board saying, like, this is what we think, this is what we are doing, everyone else can bugger off. That's the thing. There's been no attempt at dialogue with the Green Brigade. The people who were filmed committing what looked like, it was filmed in such a way it looked like a brawl was breaking out, right? I've seen the footage. But here's the thing. No one from the Green Brigade, none of the accused in this case have been invited to present their side of the story. The club have conducted no investigation, internal or external. They've just spoke to the police. Police have said this is what happened. They've been, all right, that's it. Now, let me paint a different picture for you. And again, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, okay? But I have been fed two completely different accounts of what happened at that Falkirk game involving the Green Brigade, right? So,
do you want me to just bring someone up on the screen before you do so?
Go on,
I've got
sure.
one of them ready to go.
Yep. Right.
So this tweet from Pablo Capaldi was, a boy coming back from getting cups of water was asked to show his ticket by a steward. He walked past 2 minutes before. He couldn't as hands were full, so the steward pushed him back and they argued, obviously. Police then arrived and grabbed his throat. People were outraged and reacted to help. That's one side of it that you're hearing. And then the other side you're hearing is the club story that there was a massive swarm. So we don't know what's happened after that. That's apparently the thing that's kicked it off. But then what's happened in the concourse afterwards, we don't know.
No.
Okay, so I'm looking at it that way. Wouldn't surprise me if shit kicked off, right? But the thing that frustrates me, Liam, and I'll throw back to you in a second, is I know someone who sits in that area. They were down in England for a family reunion game that happened. They can't go to game for the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. They weren't even in the stadium, yet they're getting collectively punished, and they weren't there. That's the thing that shits me above all else. Like, if they did a full investigation and they figured out who the season ticket holders were or the people were, and they banned them individually, fine, I've got no problem with that. But just saying, you know what, we're just going to silence our biggest critics at the moment and just ban them all because one or two bad eggs here, that's pathetic to me, and that's the thing that frustrates me about it. But I'll throw it back to you guys to finish off because I could go on about this for another 10 minutes.
Just the one thing I'm going to say from the board perspective, any fan that vocalizes an opinion, any fan that turns up and does anything more than hand over the money for their tickets, their food, go to the superstore and buys, any fan that does more than just be a good paying customer is a problem. They don't want that. They have no respect for it. All they want are people to turn up, pay money, and shut the fuck up. That is how they view us. Whether we're sitting here on the other side of the world or whether we're part of the Green Brigade. Much like Liam and yourself said, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. None of the footage has shown clearly what's happened. But let's be honest. Whatever has happened, whether it was a bloke coming back from with a cup of water or someone has sconced a copper, the board we're looking for and have taken the first opportunity they can to try and stamp out as many problem children as they see as they can. To me, that's the simple explanation.
Do you want me to bring up some comments, Liam, before we go to you to finish off?
Sure, go for it.
So McLaughlin's saying, I predicted the Green Brigade ban the day after the fan collective meeting.
Yeah.
Then followed it up with Green Brigade kind of made it easy for them, though. Robert Gibson is saying it had bigger rammies in the playground.
Yes.
And then Steve McMonigal is saying, Liam, I have bigger brawls in my house.
Yeah. I mean, it was clearly framed to look a lot worse than it actually was.
That's why they showed the wide shot of everyone running down there. Smell the Glove saying, if 2 police were assaulted, every officer at the ground would have stormed that section. Yep. Simon from Denny saying, world-class bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen saying, the board think they are running a cinema hall. Sit and be quiet. Yeah, so it's one of those sort of things where I just look at it and go, it's just a weird situation. But anyway, I'll throw to you, Liam, to finish off.
Well, actually, just coming into something that McLaughlin's just saying there about working when he worked with the catering at Celtic.
Bring them up.
Yeah, go on. So I worked with the catering at Celtic through my dad's company in a supervisory role for a number of years at Celtic, and we worked with the executive catering and the public catering, and so we got basically a free run of the stadium on a match day. We could see what was going on everywhere, and what I would say is these instances now, things like that happened all the time when I was at the games, because 90% of the stewards that work at Celtic Park are just decent guys, decent women trying to make a wage, right? But there's that 5 to 10% who like the power trip. They like being able to push people around. They like being able to say to people, shut up or I'm going to throw you out the stadium.
Yeah, shut up, Dan.
It would not surprise me if somebody picked one of those tiny percentage of stewards picked a fight with the wrong person, got a sore face, and then called the police in, and then it's escalated from there. It would not surprise me at all. In fact, if I was to guess based on the differing accounts that we've heard, and you've seen it all, I think that's probably what happened. Aye, name badge warriors, spot on, Simon. You've nailed it. Aye.
For me, it's pretty simple. People like that who just get up in front, get in your face, will, act tough, but then once they get slapped, they're kind of like, oh shit, okay, and then they have a cry. Yep. Yeah. Those people, they don't deserve any sympathy. But the ones you're saying, Liam, who are there for just raise some money, work a job, They don't deserve to be involved in any of that. We've all seen those idiot ones at different stadiums, at different events. Saw one at the weekend at a concert I went to. So, yeah, that was. I know exactly what it is, but yeah, we'll let that stay there. Yeah, we'll just see how this all plays out. I don't think anything's going to change, but I think we'll go a final thought each and wrap the pod up. So, you got anything, Dan?
On a nice note, I really like the new Scotland home kit. I've got the old one on here, but the new one is very, very nice, and I'm gonna buy it because I've got disposable income that I could be spending on Celtic jerseys. Instead, I'm buying Liam Scales away kits on DHgate, and I will buy myself a nice Scotland kit.
Nice. Liam?
Oh, and thank you to Liam for allowing me to guest as a contributor on the Axum blog. Go and check it out. I had some fun writing that.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, everybody, check out Dan's blog because it went up on Saturday. Apologies I couldn't actually let you know when it went live, mate, because I've got a new phone because my old one decided to do a Rangers on me. It fucking died. So, and I wasn't able to. Luckily, I've been able to, transfer all the stuff over to a new entity here. So is it still the same phone?
It's the phone.
I was going to say
it's the Liam's phone. It's not Liam's phone anymore. It's the Liam's phone. Yeah.
Long live Liam's phone. On to 55 new cases.
But I'll close out by saying this. It's interesting this week to look at. I've been looking at some political stuff in Britain, and I am amazed at how many people in Britain are outraged at a foreigner supposedly taking their job, but they're quite happy to pay tax to a German. I'll just leave you to ponder that one.
Fair enough. My final thought is got nothing to do with any of that. It's anyone who, is listening to a while knows I love going to see live music, going out to concerts and that. And finally saw Metallica live the other day, supported by Evanescence. Damn, what a show! Honestly, that thing was amazing. And yeah, gotta love the people a couple of rows in front of you giving you secondhand bit of the, MJ came out of there, not just enjoyed the concert, but felt quite nice too. So it was a good fun night. So thanks to that person. And yeah, with that in mind, hail everyone, and we'll see you when the next pod's on.
Hail.
Hail. Fuck the king up yourself.
Yes.